Morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We are going to be waiting another minute or so just so that the rest of the people can join, and then we'll get started. Right, good morning, everybody. We're going to get started. I'm Jenny. I'm the Marketing Director for TEKenable. I'd like to say thank you for joining us for this webinar on Azure OpenAI for nonprofits. We are recording this session just to make you aware of that. And then we're going to be starting with the agenda. So for today, we're going to do an introduction from Microsoft, what AI can do for nonprofits. So there are going to be 3 demos, one on knowledge mining, making expertise available 24/7, 365. And then we're going to do a demo on a different user experience, talk to me. Third is internal efficiencies, so doing more with what you have. And then we're going to give other uses for AI in nonprofits. And then we're going to have a discussion and question time. If I can ask if you just put any questions you do have in the chat, and we will cover them at the end. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Naveed. Naveed.
Thank you very much, Jenny. Much appreciated. And thank you, everybody, for taking the time to join today. So my name is Naveed Iqbal. I'm the UK Ambassador for Tech for Social Impact. And I'm honoured to be here today to share with you more about our efforts to create a positive impact for people and the planet. But before I start, I just want to say, I think I've got probably one of the best jobs here at Microsoft. I get to work with our partners, such as TEKenable, but most of all, I get to see some of the great work that you guys are doing in the non-profit sector. So a massive, massive thank you for all the great stuff that you're doing. So at Microsoft, we believe that technology is a powerful force for empowering people and organizations. We see it every day in our work, whether it's data and AI, helping predict malaria outbreaks, or humanitarian organizations delivering digital literacy to displaced people. And we truly believe that the success of the non-profit and the NGO sector is critical to how we achieve our mission as a company. But to do this, we must make the most of world-class technology accessible and relevant for non-profits, NGOs and IGOs. As a customer-first, partner-led company, we start with the needs of our customers, and we work with our partners such as TEKenable to deliver the best outcomes for each organization. Next slide, please, Mo. So if we look at the world, it's changed so much in profound and fundamental ways. Now, we've seen the role of technology have a positive impact as we've all tried to survive through this pandemic. The level of technology adoption has rapidly accelerated. Now, as we think about that pace of transformation, we have to understand the consequences of that transformation, as well as what our role in that transformation is. Next slide, please, Mo. Good. So we see a digital divide and opportunity continuing to grow, but many people are left behind. The number of children in sub-Saharan Africa that are literate at the age 10, that's when you stop learning to read and you read to learn, is 10%. So that's 90% of children can't read in sub-Saharan Africa. That means they can't get a job. That means the economic opportunity gap is growing. And COVID had an impact, and technology has a role to play. We also look at the persistent fundamental rights issues. We see tragic and unlawful wars unfolding. And we see human rights today and every day on the news being violated all across the world. And technology has a role to play there. We see an urgent climate crisis. In 2021, at the end of June, it was 106 degrees Fahrenheit in Seattle. In Netherlands, it was also baking at that time. Now, that's not normal, and there's a role for technology to play in supporting the world to become a cooler and better place. And then there's also this diminishing trust in big technology organizations. There are questions about our motives, our motivations. It's critical that we apply technology and innovations to address these challenges without sacrificing our core values, such as our partners, such as trust, privacy, transparency, and inclusion. Next slide, please, mate. So we realized we needed to evolve and think about a different business model role in supporting societal changes and organizations and non-profits that serve this purpose. So in 2017, Microsoft Philanthropies brought its contribution efforts together with commercial sales and business development to create Tech for Social Impact. So Microsoft created Tech for Social Impact to empower every non-profit humanitarian organization to accelerate social good. As we work to help everyone achieve more, we are committed to sharing our learnings and reporting our progress across a variety of societal causes, such as affordable housing, digital skilling, and climate change, just to name a few. So give you a couple of examples. Microsoft has reduced 21 million metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalents by our top suppliers. Each month, we analyze over 470 billion emails from malware and phishing attempts. So Tech for Social Impact combines our grants with non-profit commercial engagement in a single team to accelerate impact through technology, deliver solutions to empower social breakthroughs, and help accelerate Microsoft's philanthropic efforts through our efforts and those of our partners such as TEKenable. So globally, non-profits have received 1.9 billion in donated or discounted technology and services. So TSI not only provides technology grants, but it also reinvests any profits made from discounted sales to larger charities back into the sector to help the smaller ones. We give free software to those with 10 or fewer employees, which makes up about 80% of the world's 4 million non-profit organizations. We help non-profits modify Microsoft software to meet their specific needs, such as fundraising and mobilizing volunteers, in part connecting them with willing helpers in the company's global partner ecosystem. We also offer free digital skills training. As of 2021, over 30 million learners were reached as part of our global skills initiative. So we're committed to helping in the following ways. Affordable technology solutions. TSI also works closely with non-profits to create purpose-built solutions on technologies across our product stacks. We're committed to helping non-profits get access to the best practices, reference architectures, and faster data insights. Capacity building. Just delivering technology isn't the answer. In Tech for Social Impact, we recognize that capacity building is often the key to successful adoption of new technology. That's why we are committed to helping organizations get access to training and certifications to improve the digital skills. Then we have the Microsoft partner ecosystem, where Tech for Social Impact leverages tens of thousands of commercial partners, such as TEKenable, to create a healthy ecosystem dedicated to delivering solutions and services designed specifically for the non-profit sector. And then finally, we have the social investment model. Incremental funds after costs covered go back into the team and charitable contributions to enable us to give you more discounts and more grants. Next slide, please. So Mo, next slide, please.
I have transitioned it. Tech for Social Impact.
No, let's come back to the first slide. Apologies. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Yeah, that's fine. Sorry, it was a bit of a lag there. So the work that we do in Tech for Social Impact and the broader philanthropies organizations is perhaps some of the best and most powerful work in bringing these pillars to life. So the Tech for Social Impact team is truly committed to this sector, and the idea is absolutely core to our mission to empower every nonprofit with Microsoft technology. And we've got so many examples of how we directly impact Microsoft societal pillars. Let's just take a look at a couple here. Next slide, please, Mark. Thank you. So our partnership with UNICEF is a great example of how we directly support inclusive economic growth. As I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, 10% of children in sub-Saharan Africa can effectively read, therefore 90% cannot. UNICEF terms this gap learning poverty. If you can't read, it's very hard to learn, which in turn impacts your economic prospects. So through our Learning Passport partnership, we've deployed community training to assist with crisis in 23 countries, and 20 more are in process. Millions of kids are registered and nearly 300,000 have completed training. Some of the hardest reached locations are adopting the fastest. The two biggest adopters with tens of thousands of kids learning are Laos and Somalia. Next slide, please. And then when we look at our impact in committing to a sustainable future, who's helping us there? The National Forest Foundation is a non-profit that works to preserve and protect wildlife and habitat and forestry across 193 million acres of national forest system. So in partnership with Threshold World, the National Forest Foundation was able to implement our Microsoft Cloud for non-profit solutions. Now they're able to track donors, quantify the impact of their work, and further their mission of environmental restoration and conservation. So each dollar that's raised translates directly to another tree planted or preserved. Next slide, please. And then how do we protect fundamental rights? United Kingdom-based non-profit Barnardos connects hundreds of thousands of families and children in need with valuable social services each year. Barnardos is especially passionate about protecting the fundamental rights, safety and health of children. To make the best of those connections, Barnardos must ensure that employees have the technology they need to work efficiently and accurately, and the organisation also needs to show potential donors that the work it's doing has a concrete impact. So by deploying Microsoft Cloud technologies and Microsoft Surface devices, Barnardos has helped employees be more effective in the field, and it has gained valuable reporting capabilities that are essential in securing funding to meet the increased demand for services, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic. Next slide, please. So, as mentioned earlier, there are a number of high-level offers that are available for non-profits via your partner. If you're a non-profit, we'd encourage you to work with your partners to get registered to take advantages of the offers. These are available to you guys straight off the bat. So, please speak to TEKenable after the call to ensure you're registered and you're taking advantage of these offers. And we'll also share this slide with you guys at the end of the call, just so you can reference it. Next slide, please. So supporting non-profits is part of who we are, right? It's in our DNA. We've been engaged with charities since 1983 with the inception of our employee giving campaign. But our work has only just begun. So this year marks our 7th year anniversary, but we're more motivated than ever. Truly reaching our vision at real scale requires a broad base of amazing teammates like yourselves in every corner of the globe. So in 2022, we provided 3.8 billion in grants and discount services and equipped 325,000 non-profit organizations with modern, secure and scalable cloud solutions. And in July 2020, we launched an initiative to help 25 million people worldwide acquire the digital skills needed in the COVID-19 economy. So hopefully this shows that everything that we do is driven by the deep sense of purpose and timeless values of trust, privacy, transparency, inclusion. And these are values that our customers have come to expect of us and that today's fast changing society requires of us. Next slide. So the question really is, in our role, what is our role in this modern day? Yeah, Milton Friedman, who's a renowned economist, said the role of a company is to serve its shareholders and that greed is good. But the definition has evolved because it turns out that companies don't operate in some parallel universe or vacuum outside of the planet, right? We are affected by the world around us, whether it's global warming or it's poverty or it's our next market in Africa. Billions of people are affected in the world. So the new definition of what a company needs to do, and that's every company, it came from the Business Roundtable. That's 181 CEOs that come together and they say the role of a company is not just to serve its shareholders, but the role of a company is to serve its stakeholders. And our stakeholders are our employees, our partners such as TEKenable, and most importantly, our customers, you guys. That's the communities that we operate in. And our philosophy is simple. Companies that can do more should do more. And hopefully at TSI, we are doing more. Now, with that, I would like to thank all of you again for all the great work that you do. And thank you again so much for taking the time to join today. So I'll pass you back to our partners, TEKenable. Thank you.
Thanks a million, Nav. Very informative and very impressive, particularly the financial numbers. Good morning, everybody. My name is Peter. I'm the Group Technical Director for TEKenable. Do not worry. Well, we've got a slide on about TEKenable. I'm not going to go talk through it in detail. Just wanted a quick introduction to ourselves. Mo, you've taken my slides off. Help. Thanks, Mo. Sorry, Mohammed is going to be tag teaming with myself on this now because we promised you demos and we're going to give you demos of stuff. So Mo's going to do the demos. I'm going to do a bit of an introduction to each of them. Just to say around this slide that TEKenable primarily operating in UK and Ireland. We are a Microsoft partner for data and AI. About 200 of us, and some of our non-profit clients you can see down the bottom there. That's just some of them, have room for all the logos, but we've some experience, and that means we've some appreciation for some of the challenges and difficulties, and also the opportunities that are facing the non-profit sector. Particularly, I suppose, the fact that during COVID, funding was more difficult to raise, donations were limited, and that has followed on to a certain extent post-COVID with the arrival of some global economic upheavals around the Ukraine crisis and so on and so forth, which has impacted on people's ability or discretionary money that they have to spend. So I really want to echo that doing more with less or doing more with the same, as Nav was talking about earlier, is really, really important for every organization, not just for non-profits, but particularly critical for non-profits. And AI is a way in which we can enable you to do more with the same. So next slide, please, Mo, if you could. We're going to start with the first demonstration. And to be honest, the demo is the important bit because some of this stuff is so new and so different to what you might have seen before that it's very hard to understand just from getting a text description or me waffling on about it. So really the demo is going to bring this to life. But imagine, if you will, you can currently have chatbots that talk to robots that can answer basic questions for you, and they are usually pre-programmed with a set of questions that people would ask and the responses that the robots to give in response to it. And if you ask a question that is not something it was expecting, and not something it's pre-programmed to respond to, then it's not going to give you an answer. And they're kind of limited in what you can do. And most people are familiar with chatting with people over the likes of WhatsApp or text messaging or Teams, as we're on at the moment, and talking to people, asking questions and having that interactive session. Well, more than 70% of the information that in any given large organization typically is actually buried in documents and emails and what we call unstructured data, as opposed to databases, which are things like your CRM system, perhaps, or your finance platform. That's an awful lot of the information that you have, the expertise and knowledge that you have as an organization, effectively buried and difficult to find. So TEKenable has built, using the AI services from Microsoft, a service we call Chat with Your Documents that enables you to have that text-based conversation, a chatbot conversation, talking to those documents that have that knowledge, that have that information, and getting the answers from those documents in a way that no search engine or other service could possibly do, which will enable you, we assert, to improve service delivery, doing more with less, to enhance the interaction with your service users, volunteers, donors, and other stakeholders within the organization, and improve internal efficiency and save money. So enough of me making assertions. Mo, over to you, please. You can chat with your documents.
Thanks, Peter. Now it's going to be a challenge running the PowerPoint, and let me know when you can see it on screen there. Okay, so this is a web interface that is talking to what you probably all are familiar with, ChatGPT, but this is running in Azure. So Microsoft has a way for organizations to use Azure OpenAI, the OpenAI services, but in Azure very securely. And this means your data remains within your control, within your governance requirements. So this particular demo is showing an example where this is an HR assistant chatbot. So it's designed for employees to interact with HR documents, but instead of doing a traditional search, maybe on SharePoint where the documents might be, I can just ask questions and the chatbot will figure out where the information is and provide it for me. So the company is called Contoso, and it offers its employees health plans of different types, standard and plus. In addition, it also has information about performance reviews and different roles and responsibilities. So general kind of HR handbook stuff. So I just used one of the pre-configured prompts there and asked the question, what is included in my Northwind Health Plus plan that is not in standard? And the chatbot has gone off. It's investigated the documents. It did not copy and paste the expert out of the document. It actually read them and formed a reply based on behind the scenes instructions we've given it. So it's saying, it's giving me the different coverages in the different health plans and explaining to me what the differences are. It also, because it's an AI, the information, if you're not kind of sure or certain whether it's coming back as accurate, it gives you citations. So you can actually open the part of the document which it used to read. It maybe read 2 or 3 documents, but in this case, it read this particular document, 1-pager, and then you use that to form a succinct response form. So that's just kind of a example of how you can very quickly get information. Now, if you're doing traditional search, you'll have lots of pages of searches and you'll have to click in and find the part of the document which had that information. So that's one example. I'm just going to ask it another question here. So let me just ask it. So I'm just going to ask it a very open-ended question. What about hearing? Because it is contextual, it understands the previous turns of the conversation, it has context. So I didn't have to explain too much. It basically figured out that I'm trying to find out about hearing cover within the health plans. So that's, again, what is essentially, it has understanding of the content and the context and the actual natural language understanding. And it gives me citations as to where it read the document from. So maybe I just want to find out from I want to find out the differences between the 2 health plans. So I've asked it to give me that comparison table. So let's see, it's going to look through, read about the 2 health plans in the various documents. It referred to about 3 documents in this instance, and it provided me a table explaining the differences to me. So it saved me time. I would have had to read the brochure for the standard and the health plan plus, and then I'd had to figure out these comparisons unless the brochure included this content already in a table format. But the AI did a very good job on it.
So
it
Mo,
also
is that table content in any of the documents?
No. If I asked it the second time, it might create the table slightly differently. It's not doing a copy and paste. It's actually reading the content and giving me the comparison as it's understood it. And because the large language models have been trained on all the content that's freely available on the internet, it doesn't need any translation. The content could be in English, and I could be a non-native speaker. Maybe I want the response back from the English content in Irish. So I'll try and get it to do that for me. And it's not doing it's not using any translation services. Because it's read Irish content on the internet, it understands, how people on the internet have interacting in Irish, and it actually uses that style that it's learned to respond back. And the party trick here sometimes is just to demonstrate that it's understood styles of writing rather than translations. I can ask it to respond. Sorry. So I know it's useless, but it just demonstrates that because there's no translator for pirate speak. So it's gone off. So it actually understands that there's the way pirates are allegedly, speaking in literature. It's read it on the internet. It actually uses that style to answer the question. So that's our chat with the documents. This has the ability. Behind this particular demo, we have about 20 or 30 different PDFs, and they've all been broken up into smaller chunks. So it's easy for the language model to read through them and just give you back parts of them. But you can use this and scale this up to typical organizations with thousands of documents in different chat domains. So whether it's HR or finance or sales.
Thank you, Mo. So sticking with that for a second. So Well, most of us probably don't have customers that are pirates. You all have expertise in various different areas, whether that's the alleviation of poverty, medical conditions, human rights, even challenging behavior in dogs, etc., etc. All that information, all that expertise is currently inaccessible in the main. You may have some of it on your website, people have to find, you may have reports that people can download, but the ability for you to expose this to your service users, to your general public who may be interested, for example, you have expert, curated, authoritative content on the topic that you deal with as a non-profit. And that is extremely valuable. And this is another mechanism of making that available to people so they can understand it, act upon it, and receive benefit from you. So the system itself is something we can discuss in the Q&A later on. It's relatively easy to set up. It's a pre-built product that we can deliver to you, and all we need to do is actually change the user interface for you so that it looks the way you want it to look and is exposed through systems you want it to expose through. And after that, it's a question of feeding it the documentation that you want it to use as its knowledge base. It really is as simple as that. So thank you. If we can move on, Mo, to the next slide, please. So this is a sort of a chat interface that we've shown there that most of the people that we deal with are quite familiar with, but we wanted to push things a little bit. So we have created a conceptual user interface we call Lisa, for no particular reason. That's just what we call it. Doesn't stand for anything. And while the chat with your documents is available 24/7 by 365, so is this virtual AI driven volunteer / staff member. This is a talking person. You won't probably be able to see it from the quality of what's streamed over this Teams video, but the speech is actually lip synced and the mouth movements are accurate representations of what a human being would move in order to speak things. So Lisa has infinite patience, can answer your questions, has expert knowledge of what you do, potentially access to your database systems for looking up records for people. As I said, there's disability friendly and autism friendly. Autism friendly in the sense that she's non-judgmental, constant neutral tone, will never become grumpy or cranky or do anything particularly unexpected. And best thing to do, to be honest, is just let Mo show you the demo.
Thank you, Pete. So let me spin her up. So bear in mind, these are all very new preview features. So there might be a little bit of a performance, but let's see if you can hear Lisa.
Hello, my name is Lisa. This is an AI avatar demo for a fictitious outdoor gear retailer. How can I help you?
Pete, did the sound come through, just to confirm?
Yes, Mo.
Okay, no worries. So this is she's a shopping assistant in this scenario. This could be applied in different scenarios. Other Microsoft partners have used this to create like a ESG type kind of a chat experience for organizations, and e-governments are using this for their citizens. It has all the benefits that the chat with document had, but the interface, she's not a real person, completely AI generated. All of this is coming directly from an AI service running within the Microsoft infrastructure. So I'm just going to ask her questions about some products in a database here. She's going to decide whether she needs to refer to the database or answer for me. So how can you help me, Lisa?
I can assist you with product information, placing orders, checking order details, and providing information about your bonus points. How can I assist you today?
I'm interested in men's hiking boots. Can you give me some options?
Introducing the Rugged Ranger, a durable and comfortable hiking boot designed specifically for men. These boots feature superior comfort with a cushioned insole and padded collar, as well as unmatched support with a sturdy midsole and reinforced ankle collar. They are made with high-grade, water-resistant leather and a tough rubber outsole for durability. The rugged Ranger boots also have weatherproof technology to keep your feet dry and a rubber outsole with deep lugs for exceptional traction. They come in various earth-toned colors with rugged detailing.
So Lisa's figured out that I'm interested in some products information. It went to a database and it retrieved that information, and then went to an storage account in Azure and found a picture and created that card for me so that I get a better look at the actual product. Lisa, I want to buy a pair for my friend Peter. Can you place an order for size 42 UK?
Great. I have placed an order for a pair of rugged Ranger boots in size 42 UK for your friend Peter. The expected delivery date for the order is January 29, 2024.
Thanks, Lisa. Can you tell me about some tents?
Certainly. The rugged Ranger boots are designed to provide exceptional comfort and support for outdoor adventures. They feature a cushioned insole and padded collar for comfort, a sturdy midsole and reinforced ankle collar for support, and a tough rubber outsole for durability. The boots are made with high-grade, water-resistant leather and have a waterproof yet breathable membrane to keep your feet dry. They also have deep, multi-directional lugs on the outsole for reliable traction. Overall, the rugged Ranger boots are a great choice for any hiking enthusiast.
She obviously misheard me there, so repeat to that. How many loyalty points do I have, Lisa?
You currently have 799 loyalty points, which have a cash value of 84.11.
Enough. So I think that explains that Lisa can interact with the in a natural language kind of interface through this voice synthesizer, and it detects the language. It understands what I need. It might kind of from its configuration tell me what it can do, but it also can refer to other sources like databases and file stores to grab information and present it to me, and it can place orders. So it's made a database transaction in that case and created an order for me, and it has the same capability that the chat with the documents has in terms of its multilingual understanding of content. I'm going to try and see if she'll respond to me in another language. كيف حالك؟
أنا بخير، شكرا. كيف يمكنني مساعدتك اليوم؟
So she has most of the common languages: Chinese, French, German, English, Arabic there in that case. So I don't have to do any particular translation or configuration. She detects the language that's coming through the microphone and responds in the language, because those are her instructions, even though the content might have been in English. That's it for this part.
I don't know what you asked her, Mo, but I do recognize that
I
she
said,
said
how
thank
are
you.
you? Yeah,
Oh, she said thank you.
Hey, Palak, how are you? So she said, thank
Okay.
you, I'm fine.
Thank you for that. Or shukran for that, I should say. So the I suppose this is a little bit of a proof of concept, but perhaps you can see the potential of where this could take us with multiple different avatars. Lisa doesn't have to be female; could be male. The default languages, etc., can change. But as you can see, she's multilingual, 24/7. And the key thing that people may not realize is none of those responses are pre-programmed. Nothing in that is pre-programmed. We have not told Lisa how to introduce herself. We've not told Lisa about how to say thank you for things. We can constrain the domain, so you can't ask her general purpose questions about what is the price of cheese at a super value or something. So she'll answer questions about what you've given her information about, but nothing there is pre-programmed. It's all driven by the data that's behind the scenes and available to her, and to the file systems that we're using, a chat with your documents behind your scenes to answer questions. It's a little slow because we're running it off basically as a free tiers at the moment, but that in a production system would be quicker. So hopefully that was impressive and give you some idea. We're on to the third demo. The Third demo is really about internal efficiency. So this is how you can do more with the same money. This is all about Microsoft 365 Copilot. So this is a series of or new functionality that you can license and add to the Office 365 suite of tools. So Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. It's only just available. It's literally became available in Ireland, I think, about 3 or 4 days ago. And so these are early capabilities. The capabilities of these things are impressive right now, and they will only grow as time goes by. But they are already transforming the way that companies are actually interacting with their customers, the way they're handling customer service queries or inquiries, the way they're drafting reports, etc., etc. But I'll let Mo take over, and he can do a demo, and then we can have a conversation about it afterwards.
Okay, so again, just let me know when you see PowerPoint. Oh, it's on the wrong screen. Bear with me. So the Copilots are part of Microsoft 365. So if you're familiar with Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Outlook, it's built in as a tool inside these products. And so if you're licensed, you should be able to open it up. Again, as Peter said, they're just very new. They're kind of in preview almost. So we're just stretching our legs on them ourselves. But here's an example of me telling Copilot in a blank slate to create a presentation for me about the International Red Cross with some examples and illustrations. So it's going to go off and look over its understanding of what it's read about the International Red Cross, what it can access through the internet, and it's going to do it. The more better the prompt or the instructions, the more specific, it'll be more tailored to your requirements. But it just demonstrates how you can quickly generate content. So just bear with us. Sometimes it because it's trying to access infrastructure that's a little bit far away from me. I'll just take a second.
So while we're waiting for that to generate, Mo, the capability exists to load your company templates into the PowerPoint Copilot capability, so that when it generates presentations, it does so in the style and with the imagery and the background content, etc., for your company. In the true style, just to prove it is a real demo. It's going to take its good sweet time. It's normally a bit quicker than this, but not to worry.
I think it just went to sleep there for a second.
Yeah,
there we go. So not too bad, but so with just those very simple instructions, and let me just show you those. That's what I gave her as the prompt or instruction. She's given me back a presentation about the International Red Cross and chosen some pictures. I'll just do another one, and hopefully now that she's warmed up, I do a quicker job. So let's change topic on her and say, let's do something else. There you go. So now I'm going to actually ask it to create a presentation about sheep farming in Wales. So hopefully.
And you've given detailed instructions here, Mo, haven't you, in terms
of a
little
bit more in terms of the images and presentation. So there we go. It's done a slightly better job and more quicker now that it's warmed up. So you can see, it just gives you a very good starting point or template. But it's not obviously the interactions are a lot more richer. I won't try to do something too fancy on the demo because it's probably going to go wrong. But for example, if I want to slide there something around the economic impact of farming sector in Wales. So I've already generated this, or maybe it's an existing presentation that I have, but I need to tailor it for a particular scenario. So just gonna get it to go and create a specific slide for me, and it'll slide it in when it's ready. There we go. So it's created a new slide for me about sheep farming in Wales. Now I could have been very specific to say what I want to see on this slide, but I didn't. Just kept it generic. So that's kind of Copilot, and you could have generated so the various prompts that are available is you could create a presentation from scratch like I did. You can create a presentation from a document that you're working on that you want to present back, or you can add a slide just that I showed you there. So that's what this can do. I'll switch
We're
over.
not going to show it, Mo, but while you're switching, just in terms of the create a presentation from a document, that's really powerful. If you have something like a application for sponsorship or a grant application or even an internal report, and you wish to summarize it and present it to a board or to an application panel or whatever it may be, it gives a great starting point. If you just upload the document into OneDrive so that this can see it, it will then allow you to select the document and generate a PowerPoint. Having read the document itself, understood the key points and the themes and presented it and created a presentation, it's a great starting point. It's generally not the end point. It's an accelerator, an efficiency improver for you. Sorry, Matt.
Okay.
Carry on.
So, well, same thing. Copilot is there. It's loaded in. So this is an example for a small company's budget template. It's got its income, some expenses, personal expenses, operating expenses. So what I need to do is I need to select a table region so it knows where I need some help in analysis. Let me actually reset this back to before I actually made the changes. Bear with me there now. Okay. So I can ask it to, I'll just go. Actually, I might start to undo some of this stuff.
Just scroll back and show what you did, Mo, in the prompt.
Yeah, maybe that might be better. Okay, because I've actually run this through, didn't reset it.
Yeah.
So what I done was I asked it to change the color of the background, and essentially it did that for me. And then I said, can you sort the differences column for me in ascending order? And it actually sorted it in the order that I asked for it. But then I also did some analysis. So for the same data region, I did some analysis. So I can say, let me just get an analysis prompt. So I want to get a kind of a pivot chart on total of the actual by the operating expenses as a column chart. So let me just ask it to do that for me. So it'll create a chart for me as I've asked it to do. I could go and do a couple more analysis. So maybe I want to see the percentage. So what's the of the total operating expenses? What is the most kind of a expense? So it's telling me this, and let me just insert this so I can use this data. So you can see the maintenance and repairs percentage-wise take the most of my kind of in terms of the overall expenses. So you can do analysis with this, and you could also get it to work with you on reformatting. So if this was a very large data and I wanted to find or identify trends in it or highlight a row that matches my requirements or create a formula column, I could do that. And as I'm doing it, actually is giving me more suggestions to run. So it's again adding, you don't have to be an Excel expert to do now very advanced things in Excel. So that's how it works in Excel. And let me just go over to Microsoft Word. So let me just grab a pre-configured kind of text I have here on my other screen. So I've loaded up and I've got so you could actually have an existing content that you want to rewrite or get a summary of or improve. But I'm just starting with a blank slate. I'm saying, give me I'm telling it, it's a respected researcher in the field of human development. I'm asking it to help me write about the NGO-funded development programs in Africa and their impact on child healthcare, referencing reports and statistics from reputed sources. So I'm just going to let it go off and do its thing. Now this thing can create a very comprehensive report. We might not be able to wait for it during this demo, but once it starts creating content and you see the example, then I'm going to stop it in midway, but it'll just demonstrate.
One of the interesting little hints here, actually, that it was in that prompt or that request that Mohammed made of Microsoft Word Copilot there. You are a respected researcher in the field. It's actually flattery has actually seemed to work with AI models to give you better content, because it responds. If you tell it you're a rubbish researcher, you'll get poor content because it's trying to give you the output a rubbish researcher will give you. You flatter it, you get better content.
So obviously, it's still onus is on the user who is actually the author of this report to use this content and read through it and make sure the sources referenced and the content itself is accurate. But you can see just by giving it a very open-ended, help me write the document, this is going to go on and it's going to create a 20-page document for me if I don't stop it. But it proves the point. It's created a very well formatted document. It's given me sources of what it's referring, and then if I don't like it, I can ask it to regenerate. I can get it to change the tone of the actual report. I can get it to add more sources. So I'll just see. Maybe I want a section there.
We might actually call it there, Mo, if that's all right. Just
no worries.
To move on.
So,
thank you very much for that, Mo. Could we go back to the PowerPoint and
yes, just bear with me.
We'll have time to answer some questions then. So I think everybody's got
my screen.
Yeah, you got to find it first. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Okay, thank you. So okay, let's just if you could just reveal those. That's actually, if you move on, just click through those and move on. This is actually just a summary of the kind of things that Copilot can do. You've seen a lot of this, so I'm not going to go through it on this slide deck. So on to the next one. Okay. So this personalizing of communications, we don't have a demo for this, but it's an interesting principle, right? So what you've seen is the ability for AI to generate content, and some really good comprehensive content, either directly or based upon some knowledge that you have given it through your own documents, etc. But what the next layer of that can do is generate personalized content. So if you have information about your stakeholders, whether they're service users or whether they are donors or supporters, etc., then the degree of personalization that currently is used in most communications is that, I get a letter saying, "Dear Peter," and it might actually arrive with my hiking boots on January the 29th. Thanks for that, Mo. For future reference, I'm size 41, not 42, but I'll pad them out, be fine. So the "Dear Peter" email comes in, "Thank you very much for supporting you," etc., and that's the degree of personalization. Everybody gets the exact same email. But imagine you could merge the data you have with, say, demographic information or deprivation index information about the location where that person lives, and make some assumptions based upon that, which won't always be true, but in the main will be true, about their ability, the amount of free income they may have in order to be able to make donations to you. Imagine you also had information about some of their home circumstances. So, for example, here, my dog is called Luna. She's a German Shepherd. I actually do support Dogs Trust. And, if I was to get rehoming stories about German Shepherds and pleas for additional funding that were achievable by me, something that I could do, as opposed to, God, no, I can't afford that much money, etc., based upon information that you scrape together, that's a lot more compelling and likely to result in significantly higher donations. And that's something AI can do. It can literally create at scale personalized messaging for every single one of your communications, instead of having a single bulk mailing shot, which is effective but could perhaps be more effective. So you're enhancing interactions and potentially increasing donorship. So Mo, next one, please. And the quick summary. So thank you. So essentially what we've tried to show you is how using AI and the tools we have available to us today, TEKenable and Microsoft can help you improve service delivery, enhance interactions with service users, volunteers, donors and stakeholders, increase income, or we didn't actually show you, but potentially automating financial processes. So the likes of Business Central Finance Platform within Microsoft Suite of tools has automated bank reconciliation, for example, which takes hours, particularly for high volume, low value bank transactions, such as donations. Potentially the bank reconciliation process can be a nightmare. So automating that using AI is great. And generally improving internal efficiency and saving money through the use of things like Copilots. So next slide, please, Mo. It's back to Jenny and potentially any questions that came in.
Thank you, Peter. So just to quickly touch base, we have another webinar planned. We're looking at potentially in March, but we will be sending an email to all of you with the details. So please join us for that one too. And then if you'd like any more information, there's a QR code for our AI offering. Alternatively, there's another QR code where you can request more information, or if you want a meeting to see how we can possibly assist you. And then going to the questions. So I'm just going to go through the questions that I've seen. The one being, is there a lot of programming involved, by Sam? I think, Peter, you did answer that question at the time.
I did. The short answer is no.
And then Claire says, can you ever be in danger from our AI in person or what you say?
AI doesn't have objectives or motivation. It is not a human. That's a human trait. It's not a trait of AI. AI does not have any sort of reason to threaten. So it's not that AI can be big, aggressive or dangerous, but however, you can, if you don't follow the appropriate ethical framework, and we can certainly help guide you in this and make sure that this doesn't happen, you can inadvertently create harm to people by using AI. So for example, if you train it with data or give it a background data that inherently discriminates against a particular group of individuals in the way that data is constructed or the way that the information is presented, then the AI will perpetuate that discrimination and possibly even amplify it by making it available to more people. So it's really important to follow an ethical framework. Microsoft publishes an ethical framework. There's lots of other ones from the United Nations, for example. We have adopted that. We have a very large, lengthy template that we have to fill out that covers everything from discrimination to transparency to how we prove that these things have been covered. So the answer is it's not inherently threatening, but it can have inadvertent side effects if you don't consider them. And the way to avoid that inadvertent side effect is to make sure you follow the ethical frameworks.
Thank you, Peter. Another one is, is Copilot likely to be an add-on for business premium license?
It's probably one for Nav. Nav's on mute, but I know, for example, that I can buy it from an E3 and an E5 license right now because that's what we have ourselves. Whether it's available for other license types, I'm not sure because I haven't looked, but we can get back to you.
Perfect. I had some other questions that Wundervid, I don't know if he's there. One being is, who can I reach out to if we're rejected for, sorry, Peter, for to get non-profit licenses? I think it was the question.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was a schoolboy error. I had my microphone on mute. But yeah, exactly what Peter said. So we'll get some information over to you on the license and who's eligible for that. But to answer that question, yeah, so I would encourage you guys reaching out to TEKenable, and they can liaise with me directly if you have been rejected. The process is fairly simple in terms of applying to be a non-profit. There's a link which I will put in the chat, I'll share with you. So there's also an eligibility checker now, which is a fairly new experience which we launched last year. So it enables you to see if you would be eligible for charity status, non-profit status, and discounted licensing. But then there's also a process that you take. It takes normally about 3 days. We use an organisation called TechSuit to do the sanity checking, but it's normally about 3 to 4 days. As long as you're UK-based charity and you have a charity number, there's no reason you would get rejected. And if you are rejected, it may be that they're asking for some charity fundraising activity evidence, which we can then work with you to provide. So yeah, so just reach out to TechEnable, and I can work with your partners to sort of give you that information.
I can actually testify because we've been through that process. It is actually fairly straightforward. We did it with we built a system to deal with the Ukraine crisis for the Irish Red Cross. Ukraine refugee crisis in Ireland, and that required us to stand up an Azure tenant and get non-profit licensing, etc., into that tenant. So we had to go through that process.
Yeah, exactly that. So yeah, the process is fairly easy. You shouldn't have any issues, and it's normally sort of 2 to 3 days before you're approved as well.
Perfect. Any other questions that we might have missed or that you have thought of that you'd like to be answered in the session quickly? Okay, Then I'm going to close off the webinar. We are going to share the recording with you via email, so you'll get a link so that you can view it. And once again, if you have any questions, please just reach out to us and we'll help you along. Thank you very much for joining us this morning and have a good day.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.